Well, good afternoon and welcome to the principal's office. I am Principal Edward Gordon. I am so glad you have tuned in for this weekly broadcast where we will be interviewing educational stakeholders who have made a significant impact for themselves, for others, and with others in education. In the book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, written by Dr. John C. Maxwell, he talks about the law of modeling. The law of modeling states it's hard to improve when you have no one but yourself to follow. A good mentor is a worthy example, available, has proven experience, possesses wisdom, and provides friendship, provides support, and makes a difference in people's lives. We believe there are many outstanding leaders in this world, and weekly we want to highlight those leaders, leaders that will help us provide models of excellence for others. Today, I am grateful to have another special guest who is making a significant impact in education, Dr. Nicole Rankin. Good afternoon, Dr. Rankin.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you again for coming onto the show. And I would like to start off with a brief introduction of our guest today. Dr. Nicole Rankin, affectionately known as Dr. Nick, is one of the most engaging personal growth coaches around. She is a certified teacher, speaker, and coach with the John Maxwell team who takes pride in helping people grow personally and professionally. She is also the author of Adulting in My Purpose, the journal. With over 20 years of professional experience in helping people, Dr. Nick formerly worked as a research scientist before taking her leap into entrepreneurship. Dr. Nick started a professional development company that helps young leaders and the leaders that support them become better leaders through the development of leadership, personal growth, and communication skills. Dr. Nick has developed a 7 step personal growth program in order to help young leaders discover who they are, clarify their vision, and develop a plan to achieve their goals. Dr. Rankin has trained leaders, both adults and youth, all over the US and in countries including Costa Rica, South Africa, China, and Kenya. She also serves as an adjunct college professor and holds a bachelor's and master's of science degree in biology and a master's and PhD in public health, where she focuses on community health education. Dr. Nicole has held several leadership positions in her profession, service organizations, and in her community. She's also the founder of Healthy Young People Excel Incorporated, a nonprofit devoted to social emotional learning for youth. Once again, audience, help me welcome to the show today, Dr. Nicole Rankin.
Wow, Principal Gordon, who were you talking about?
Talk about
I'm
Dr.
so,
Nick.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I am excited to have this conversation with you this afternoon. So let's get started. Maya Angelou states, we write for the same reason that we walk, talk, climb mountains, or swim the oceans, because we can. We have some impulse within us that makes us want to explain ourselves to other human beings. Dr. Nick, share with the audience, what is your story?
Wow, great question. Your story can take so many turns in life. But I think just starting back as a young professional going into college, or even before that, many people might know my story is I grew up with learning disabilities. So when I was younger, I had problems with reading comprehension. And so I dealt with that in a younger age and had to overcome a lot of issues that, many young people who with learning disabilities and challenges face, be it low self-esteem, low confidence within themselves, and then just the struggle to exceed in academia. So I did overcome that. I had to make a lot of sacrifices. I had to overcome a lot of hurdles, a lot of hurts, a lot of people that told me that I wasn't going to be successful and wasn't going to make it and do the things that I desired to do. So having to overcome those things, I can remember back in college, going into my college career, that I failed my first year in college because I was just overwhelmed, and nobody really helped me with understanding how to navigate the things of having a learning disability and taking on a college load. So I was just overwhelmed. And I went to my advisor, and I was really, all I knew is I wanted to help people and I wanted to be a doctor. So that was kind of like a dream. And I went to the advisor after that, and that person literally told me, looked me in the eye, said, "You're never going to be a doctor. You don't have what it takes. Try to figure out something else that you want to do." And so I was devastated because here I am going to a person of authority, somebody who was supposed to be my advisor, guidance counselor, and they're telling me that my dreams are not going to become true. And so I battled with that. And there was a lot of things that happened in the interim. You know, a lot of times when you get in that defeated mode, then you begin to take on that role and responsibility of thinking that you're defeated, because your thoughts dictate what you feel. Your thoughts will dictate what you say and your actions. And so I went down that road, but then I'm a woman of faith, and I grew up in the church, right? And there's something that when you're about to hit rock bottom, those songs, those lessons, they come to you and begin to remind you that, you know, you are more than a conqueror, that you, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. So these are things that were brought back up into my spirit when I was at that low point. And so I was able to get a new advisor, and one that aligned with who I was and looked like me and thought like me. And I remember she asked me the question. She said, "What is it that you want to do?" And I said, "I want to be a doctor and I want to help people." And she looked me back in the eye and said, "You know what? That is exactly what you're going to be and what you're going to do." And so at that point, I was pumped. I was like, "Let's go, let's do this." So she was the one that actually sat me down, and, you know, I explained my learning issues, and she knew that because of the records. She was like, okay, she showed me how to navigate course selections and how to do different things and how to get help when I needed it, and just really supported and nurtured me through the process so I can develop the confidence within myself. And so once I did that, it was no holds bar. I was determined from that point on, as Les Brown says, never let anyone's opinion of you become your reality. And so from that point, I got a job right there in college, working as a biological science tech at the USDA Forest Service. So I entered into research while I was in college, while I was working, graduated, went on to obtain master's degrees, and then working in different federal agencies. I worked for the EPA as a researcher, and then ended up at the Centers for Disease Control as a research scientist. And so I ended up getting my PhD in public health, and going supporting my public health research, and truly becoming the doctor that they said I wasn't going to be. So yeah, and so here I am, and now I am teaching. I'm an adjunct college professor teaching graduate courses in public health, and then also just recently in 2017 stepped out on faith and started my own training company, as you read in the bio, to help young leaders who have those same experiences that I have, that they may be wanting to find their purpose and wanting help and wanting guidance, and really looking up to find nobody's there to help them. So I wanted to be that answer for them as well. So that's kind of like an overview, long about my story of how I got to where I am today.
Very good. I appreciate you sharing your story with the audience. And there's two things that I definitely wanted to talk about based on what you shared. Definitely, you are an overcomer, and that is something that I'm just so glad that you're able to be on the show today and be able to just share that with the audience, especially now having a situation where you start off with some challenges in school to be able to have 4 degrees in terms of higher education. You are have definitely overcome, and now you're in a position to be able to help others. Another part of your story that I want everyone to really to think about, especially those that are even in high school students with guidance counselors, those that are in college right now, having those conversations with those counselors and really listening to what the counselor is saying. Because if a counselor is not one that believes in you and what you can do and what you can achieve, I would encourage you. You have to be an advocate and share with your parents to be able to support you on this, but also go to whoever you need to go to. You want a guidance counselor, someone in the high school level as well as in the college level that believes in your dreams and your goals and is going to help you to get there. So
Absolutely.
I'm glad that you were able to share that part of the story and that uh, you were able to transition and have a counselor that believed in you and has given you that support and confidence to not only for that short time period in your life, but also in terms of where you are right now. So thank you again for sharing that with the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And because as a young person, you don't know what you don't know. So you're looking for that guidance. You're looking for some help, be it in high school or being going into college. And so with someone with the title of advisor or guidance, it seems like this is the person that I need to listen to that can understand me. And so when I had that experience, it was like, that's not right. And even if it was, what you felt, or it was just the way that that person needed to see the vision and figure out how can I help you, or maybe have some alternative methods or things to think, show me how to navigate the plan. Because what I realized is that, when I went into school, I was tunnel vision, right? Because there are many ways to get to your goals and many ways that you can accomplish your vision, but a lot of times you only know one way because that's what you're taught. And so I only did what I was taught, and I ended up, meeting a challenge. But in life, there are so many ways to get to what you want to do and to get to your goals. And you have to be open minded. You have to be flexible. I always say that you keep the goal, but be flexible with the plan. And so my goal was the same, but my plan had to change because of my situation. And one, I had to have the confidence to know that because I have this learning challenge, it didn't define who I was. It actually made me better. It made me creative because it allowed me to think outside the box. So I wasn't, that one tunnel thought process. I was more creative. And so I had to realize that it wasn't a deficit. It was an asset to who I was. And I just had to learn how to adjust. And once I did that, I was able to maneuver. And with the help of the new guidance counselor, she showed me that it's okay to deviate. It's okay to go a different route. Just because you have to take the set of courses to graduate doesn't mean you have to take them all at one time. And so that was news to me. I'm like, hey, this is what they told me to take. So I'm taking calculus and history and chemistry and biology and all this stuff in one semester. She was like, no, you don't have to do that. So it was really the power of understanding, the power of having a mentor, having a coach, and having really somebody who's going to support you and guide you in your corner. It just really made the difference.
Very good, very good. So let's talk about what excites you. What wakes you up in the morning? What's that drive?
I think for me now that I'm in this space, because I made my transition. Like I said, I created this professional career as a research scientist, and then I came to that fork in the road, and had that really. I told you I'm a woman of faith, so I had that heart to heart come to Jesus moment and asking God, there was a point in my life where I was really feeling just unfulfilled and not really completely embracing all that I really knew that was in me and like my greatness. And so once I had that heart to heart and made a decision to transition to follow my dreams, and I left my professional career, I think the excitement of each day is knowing that I'm really living in my purpose. And I'm really, truly in alignment with who God created me to be. And so that just excites me. You know, the journey as an entrepreneur is not easy at all by any means,
Mhm.
but even knowing that you're still doing what you have been created and designed to do, and like so you have that ultimate function of your life, like that's exciting to me. Like waking up knowing that I'm working in my passion and I'm in alignment with who God called me to be and what He's called me to do. And yeah, life is a little bit different. That excites me.
Very good, very good. So let's talk about, along the lines of the theme and living a life of in your passion and purpose. Let's talk about your journal, adulting in my purpose, the journal. So share with the audience about the journal, the work that it took to put it together, and also even more about the population of the young adults and millennials that you're serving.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Adulting in My Purpose is a journal, and I would say it's a journal workbook because there is some content, but there is work to do. And that journal actually was birthed out of my own process. So, remember when I talked about the kind of decision or transition I made from my corporate job to entrepreneurship? There was a gap right there in time where I was struggling with myself. And, the idea of me leaving a full time job where everybody working at an agency where everybody wanted to work, having the finances, being financially stable, and then transitioning to the unknown. That was that was a time period in my life where I was like, really, God, this what you want me to do? Are you sure? So I had to grow. And so in that time period of my own growth and development. And see, I didn't really know at that time what personal growth and development was. I didn't understand that it's actually a process. It's actually something that you do. See, we're not taught that type of stuff, that you need to learn these type of soft skills, as we call them. And so once I joined the John Maxwell team in 2015, I was introduced to this world of personal growth and development. And so, as we know, we have mentors that teach you and guide you. And that growth process really changed my life. And so I think it was from 2015 to 2017 that I was just really focusing on me, focusing on understanding who I was, understanding my giftings, understanding my weaknesses, my strengths, and my values, and what is it that I really, really want in life, and how that aligned with where I was, and that whole process of growing. And so I I actually captured everything that I did, I'm a journaler. So I captured everything that I did in a journal. And so once I made that transition and I started my business, I said, you know what? Other people need to know about this. There are young people out there that, they're so focused. School and education is so academic driven with the technical skills that there's such a gap and such a need to understand these soft skills that are dire and needing for success. And so I said, okay, I'll put it in a journal. So young people can kind of go through the process that I went through to kind of discover, what I wanted to be when I grew up, right? So I captured that in the journal. So that was the adulting in my purpose. So as a young person, the journal is geared towards our millennials, our young adults. And it's to really help them be intentional about their personal growth. Many of our young people are in a phase where they're trying to figure out this adulthood. They're trying to be independent, and they're trying to understand their purpose, but really don't know how, really don't know what, no, really don't know what to do, or how to discover it. So the journal takes them through 7 steps or 7 journeys of, I call it, a self-discovery. So they'll take a journey through self-reflection where they'll go back into their lives. They'll start to look at some of the things that they have done to kind of assess and pull some things and see some trends to kind of give them clues. They say success leaves clues. So give them the opportunity to look back. Then we go into self-awareness. So we have activities so they can understand, more about who they are, get to know their strengths, get to know their talents, and really kind of hone in on just appreciation of who they were created to be. Then we go through self-knowledge, self-belief, self-improvement, self-planning, self-motivation. So I take them through this process. And then so by the end of the journal, I mean, it has been phenomenal. Like the journal itself has been transforming to many young people. But what I've done, I started taking groups of them. So I started a course where I take them through the course, and we actually go through this. They get coaching, and they actually go through the journey, and just to see the transformation that they have. It has been amazing. So that is adulting in my purpose. Like, we're really creating a movement of young people who are truly discovering who they are, identifying their vision, and creating a plan to get from where they are to really where they want to go.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your research and the work that you're doing with supporting millennials. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you, and I have no problem with being transparent with the audience. I am 45 years old. I know that there are many principals my age and older that are leading schools all around this country and are all around this world. And one of the challenges that I've had as an administrator is our millennials coming into the workforce. And yes, you just got a job, and now you want to take over the school. And I really didn't understand in terms of until I met you and started reading more about your work. In terms of the fact that I had to learn some more about this generation and their needs and how to connect with them. Can you just share with I know that there's several other school leaders out there right now that have this question. What can we do to learn more about how to connect with this generation and be able to hear what they have to say and utilize them more effectively in our schools?
Yeah, great question. And I get that a lot. And because what we have to find, and I do professional development with educators in helping them understand and engage with today's learner. The main thing as older or seasoned leaders, as I say, that we have to understand that we have a generation that is growing up totally different from when we grew up. So we have our traditionalists, our baby boomers, our Gen Xers, and then we have our millennials, and then we have our Generation Zs, and then of course the Alpha generation coming up. But the millennials, the millennials span a large spectrum. So there are some of the older millennials who kind of come into some of the trends of our Generation X, but then the earlier millennials, the younger ones that are coming up, the new ones that you're getting that are just fresh out of college and ready to take over the world, you got to understand they grew up differently from us. They grew up in an age that all they know is digital, all they know is technology, all they know is instantaneous. They want answers. They can just push a button, and they have multiple buttons to fill. So they're multitasking. They have multiple devices. So there's nothing wrong with the generation. They're just different. So as an older a leader, we have to change our mindset. See, as educators in our training and education, we are taught that we are the educators, we are the authoritative figures. I'm here to teach you, right? That's kind of like the one-sided training that we get in education. But the reality is, as we're leading, we can't expect young people who never grew up how we grew up to do the things that we did. So here we are as educators, and we're frustrated because students don't check emails, or they want to have their devices in class, and you're like, put your devices away, put your devices, answer my email. Well, these students don't know about email like that. Generation Y, that's our generation, that's the way we have communicated, right? With the phone, really, we didn't grow up in a digital age. This is something new, so it's okay if we put it down and don't check our phone. It's okay. But talking to a generation who doesn't know anything but a device, think about it as a kind of like a drug. It's the same sensation, it's the same a dopamine response system. If you take something away, they're going to react because that's all they know, right? So rather than trying to force them to be like how we were or how previous generations were, why not open our perspective? Why not change our mindset? Why not learn how to adapt and then kind of compromise in the middle? So here we are. If your students, especially in high school, they're device driven. So in your curriculum, how about creating a time that they will be able to check their devices? Put that into your curriculum time, right? Take a break every 15 or so minutes and give them time to regroup. This generation, the millennial attention span is 11 seconds. Our Gen Zers is 8 seconds. So imagine, so think about that. You're as we are in Generation X and before, we're completely, here's the lecture, here's the material, you learn it, right? Totally different generation. So we gotta lead them differently, and that's the takeaway. We can't lead them the way we were led or the way our previous generations led us. It's totally different. So it's something that you gotta find ways to connect with them, giving them the space. They want flexibility. They want the ability to voice their opinions. They want a platform. They want to be heard. So how do you incorporate all of that? They want to use their devices. Okay, well, how can they use devices for academia? So you want to start incorporating those things and learn how to be adaptive.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Nick, for sharing that. And I just encourage all of the our members in the audience that are listening to what Dr. Nick has shared. She just shared a couple of strategies, but definitely reach out to her because there's so much information that we have to learn. Um, to be able to support this generation in our schools, and also how we're approaching the students that we're serving in our classrooms today. So definitely Dr. Nick is definitely someone to reach out to be able to learn more about how we can better engage both the workforce that are working for us as well as our students. And on the screen, we do have drnicolerankin.com, her website. You can go to her website to learn more about her work, as well as going to just put up her email address so that you can send her email with some additional questions based on what has come up during the discussion so far during our show this afternoon. So let's continue with some other work that you're doing in terms of your nonprofit at Healthy Young People Excel Incorporated. Can you just share with the audience about that nonprofit?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Hype is really focusing on developing the social emotional learning capacities of our young people. So, like I said, in going through my journey and working with young people, I really feel that is a gap in our educational system where there's not a great focus on developing those soft skills, developing those soft social emotional competencies. So Hype does that. So we provide programming, we provide events, also centered around the social emotional learning. So we do that in schools. We do that in workshops. We've had leadership summits with our young people that have been exciting, where we bring district wide, bring students together and help them with goal setting, help them with increasing their self awareness, helping them with communication skills, and learning just interpersonal skills, public speaking, other things like that, relationship management, social awareness. So all of these competencies for social emotional learning, that's what we help with Hype.
Very good. And this most recently this month you released a new program, the Wave Youth Leadership Certification Program, and just share with the audience about the program and also the work that you have been doing in the past to really build this program to be able to put it in schools throughout the country as well as internationally as well. So share with the audience about the Wave Youth Leadership Certification Program.
Yeah, absolutely. So WAVE stands for We All Value Excellence. And it's a youth leadership program that really was developed to provide evidence based educational strategies to help our young people close the achievement gap and enable them to really meet the challenges of their academic standards, especially now. We know that there is a learning gap that has been taking place with many of our students due to the fact that they have been, virtual because of the pandemic. So, with that, WAVE offers the ability to help young people kind of gain their greater self awareness about themselves, to help with the stressors, to help with alleviate a lot of the depression and anxiety and the worry that's happening. And so, with WAVE, we released that. Earlier in March, and we really want to help school districts accelerate the academic achievement. And this is by increasing, like I talked about, that social emotional learning piece for all students, and particularly low performing students, and really helping them improve their values and their ethics and their character driven leadership. So we provide engaging programs and activities that's going to help them in the area of communication, leadership development, and just overall positive social change. So the idea with WAVE is we're working on those soft skills that I talked about earlier, helping them increase their soft skills so they can truly understand how they fit in the bigger piece of the puzzle of the world, right? So really, truly, not only increasing these skills, but then how do these skills fit in the problems and the situations that are happening around them in their community? So really showing them how they belong in society and letting them know that they can be a part of positive social change. So that was our curriculum is ultimately based on community development and positive social change. So we're excited about that because there's a lot of research, and it's based on a lot of research that we know this type of social emotional programming helps to increase academic scores. We've seen that programs like this increase academic performance at least by 11 percentile points. They have been shown to also improve classroom behavior. Programs such as this have been shown to increase the ability to manage stress, depression, and just overall to help students have a better attitude about themselves, and not only about themselves, but about others, about their peers, and about their teachers, and about the community and overall school. So we're really excited about the program to roll it out across the nation. So we've been doing that and working hard to do that as well.
Very good. I'm glad that you were able to share about the Wave Youth Leadership Program with the audience. I was talking to a school leader yesterday, and he's in a situation. He's a middle school principal, grades 6, 7, and 8, but he has never seen his sixth graders. Okay, they've all been remote and virtual. And yes, you're on a platform of Zoom or Google Meets, classroom meets, and so forth. But having a program like this, when the students actually step foot back in their building to be able to learn better how to communicate with each other, now that you're not on the screen, how are
Right.
you going to work together in terms of a team, and also what you talked about in terms of this has not been an easy time for any of us, administrators, teachers, as well as students. This program be able to help to address the social emotional learning needs of the students. This is a great time and an opportunity for this program to be in all of the schools across the country and also worldwide, because this pandemic has definitely affected education globally. So thank you again for sharing this program with everyone. And on the screen, there is a website here, www.waveyouthleadership.com, and that's a way you can learn more about the program. And again, to reach out to Dr. Nicole Rankin, you're able to go to and send her an email at Nicole at drnicolerankin.com. So, Dr. Nicole, as we continue on this conversation, let's just talk a little bit about mentorship and also coaches. I've heard you talk about it before in our conversation, but can you just share about a lesson learned from a mentor or a coach and how it's impacted your life and career at this period of time?
Yeah, so great question. I think, I have a lot of mentors and I have a lot of coaches, and they all teach me different things. So I have like a business coach, I have like a life coach, I have like uh business partners that I deem as role models. So knowing that you can have a mentor in all different areas of your life, there's not like a one person fit all type experience. But I think if I just had to put one, I think the common thread between all of them is the power of mindset. And I think that is the one takeaway, that, the power of your mind and how you think, it really, really dictates everything you do. It dictates all areas of your life. So, in thinking about just being a whole holistic person, not just your career, or not just focus on your career, but your health and your finances, and even your social life and your relationship life and your family life and your home life, it really is dictated by your thought process and how you think. And I think, for me, my mentors have shown me the understanding of that, and that truly has impacted all areas of my life. So, like I said before, I really never given attention to growing myself, and that's all a part of mindset training, and kind of making sure that I increase my thought process, and, as we said, elevate our mindset. So it's a continual process. It's just not a one time thing. A lot of times people think of a personal growth or professional development as a one time event. It's an ongoing process, and so that training of the mind to have that positive mental attitude, to have that positive way of thinking, to have that no quit thinking, all of that takes work. And so I think my mentors and coaches have embodied that and really taught me the importance of doing that. And that really has not only impacted my career, but in everything I do. I'm really always checking in on my mindset, and based on how I make decisions, that it stems from my mind. It, like I said, it will dictate what I do, what I feel, how I feel, what I say. And so, I think that mindset piece is really something that I've learned from them, and really just kind of hone in on for my own development.
Thank you very much for sharing that with the audience. As we close out this conversation, and again, this audience has wide stakeholders that are actually listening to the show: students, teachers, aspiring school leaders, current school administrators, superintendents, board members, parents. What is one piece of advice that you would like to share with the audience as we close out our conversation this afternoon?
Wow. One piece of advice. Let's see. I would say that invest in you. That will be my invest in you, because the idea, if you don't invest in yourself, there's no guarantee that anybody else will. So you have to be an advocate for yourself. You have to be a proponent of your own personal growth and development. We say that growth just doesn't happen. You got to be intentional about it. So you got to be, intentional about your own growth, your own, your own health, your own finances, all areas of your life. So be okay with investing in yourself and knowing that is okay. A lot of times we want to help, we want to give, and we want to help everybody else, but we neglect ourselves. And we neglect ourselves in, not only in our self-care, our health, and in a lot of areas. So I would say the one advice that I would give would be sure to invest in you, because you are your best asset. You can't give what you don't have. So you want to make sure you get time for you to pour back in all of the great things that you're pouring out.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Nick, for coming on the show, sharing your story, your journey, and all this great information and advice for millennials and school leaders and other stakeholders. I'm just very grateful that you were able to be on the show this afternoon. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. I am glad to be in the principal's office on a good term.
Yes, 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 yes. And again, thank you for being on the show today, and thank you for modeling excellence for educators and millennials globally. And for everyone, thank you for tuning into the principal's office. And join me next week for another exciting episode as we bring on another amazing educator that is doing something significantly for themselves, for others, and with others. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful week. Bye.